So hello everyone, John Donnelly's my name from Your Holistic Academy. Very special guest today from all the way from Switzerland, living in Switzerland, Natascha Katzwinkel. How are you doing today, Natascha?
Hi, John. I'm great. How are you?
Thank you so much for joining me. And you're originally from Germany, Natascha, yeah?
Yeah, that's correct.
And now you live in Switzerland.
Yeah, 5 years it's been.
Uh, and we met recently, Natascha, on the My Networking Cafe, which is a fantastic networking group. Can you tell me a little bit about the My Networking Cafe?
Yeah, it's a great, fantastic networking group that I think is very unique amongst all the networking events out there. It's organized by Heather and Richard, a duo that is not only a lot of fun, I think, but really brings together a lot of great individuals that are interested in self-development and really helping others.
Yeah,
And it really supports on every level. It's a great thing they
yeah.
started during COVID.
Sure, you're having a great experience there. And we had I met you there, and I mean the presentation that I was at was absolutely fantastic. It was a 2.5 hour event, and it was like
Yeah.
it was superb, really superb. So anyway, the reason I wanted to talk to you, Natascha, was we're going to talk about the subject of burnout, because burnout was I mean, guess that was a key point in your life. And tell me what happened to you with the burnout.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's a big topic, of course, at the moment for many, and the heightened levels of stress that people are experiencing. So great question. For me personally, last year was really the year that changed everything for me. It was the worst year of my life, I think, and I'm quite young, but
Yeah,
a work colleague had taken her life, and there was a lack of support at the company I was working for at that time when that happened. A lot of changes in responsibility, things that were part of my role were taken away from me. I experienced that as a threat. I was actually in a really unfulfilling role. It was never the heightened level of workload. I never did any over hour because I'm very structured. But what was stressing me was really that the job was unfulfilling. And I hadn't listened to my intuition earlier before going into that role. And that's why I was then going into a burnout at all the physical symptoms that people experience. I had sleep issues, I had stomach pain, I had severe skin problems.
yeah.
All of that shows in the body when it's not too late, but it's really a sign that I wasn't listening to until I started to get out of there, make
Yeah.
changes, and then I quit this year. And everybody called me crazy to quit during a pandemic, but it was
Yeah,
the right choice. And now I want to help others prevent
yeah,
themselves from burning out.
sure. So I mean, I guess from a salary point of view, you've got a sort of, I mean, even though you've got pressure at work, you've got a steady salary coming in, and that's obviously a sort of a support mechanism to have that income. But you decide to give all that up because it just, you know,
Yeah, of course, it's another choice for some people, depending on where you live, depending on the support system the state has. I obviously, it was a long-term plan I had made. I had saved a lot of money in order to be able to survive
yeah.
if the government wouldn't have supported me for a couple of months. So I had that support net, safety net, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. So tell me about the work. I mean, the burnout from work, is it just stress from work, or is it like is it the wrong type of what is it in that workplace that what happens there? Like, is it just too much stress, or what is it?
I I think personally, burnout is so difficult to define because it's so different. Because there's as many types of burnout as there is people, I would
Yeah,
argue almost, because
yeah,
there is a term bore out as well, which is if you're not fulfilled in your job anymore and you're not making any changes. And that was the kind of thing I was experiencing, coupled with burnout in the sense that I was in a conflict with my manager that I
yeah,
was trying to resolve. But if you're in a situation with a superior and you feel there is nothing you can do, then
yeah,
you just have to give up. And the feeling of hopelessness or helplessness
yeah,
is such a strong feeling. And it's a feeling people or human beings can only cope for a short while until they give up. and until physical symptoms start to arise, unless you make changes. So it's either over hours at work, it's maybe coupled with stress at home, you're in difficult situations, plus the burnout prone personalities, people that want everything to be perfect and never delegate anything because they're obsessed with doing everything themselves. I was also doing that as well, and I had to learn to work at 80% only and still do a really, really good job.
All right.
Many things.
Yeah. And what was your role, Natascha? What type of role did you have in the company?
I was in purchasing, so I was negotiating contracts with restaurants, hotels, attraction sites in the UK and Ireland. Wow. And I traveled a lot. So last year alone, I think I flew 25 times to England, Ireland, Scotland. And it was really wearing me down or wearing me out because of all the overnights in various hotels and my light sleep anyways. I was just like, no, I can't do this anymore.
So I guess self-care was high on your list of priorities whenever you decided to get out of there.
Definitely. And I mean, I always took care of myself in the sense that I went to the gym 3 to 4 times a week, and I always coupled it with a spa visit afterwards because my gym had a spa. But it never relaxed me for more than an hour afterwards. And this is also part of burnout. If you're experiencing burnout, you're compensating for the stress. So some people start running like crazy, literally running away from their problem. And some others might opt for unhealthy options such as heavy drinking or going out, which at the moment, of course, isn't an option. But it's really important to watch these coping or compensation mechanisms that you have started. Because I was hardly at home anymore. I started sailing, salsa classes, went to the gym, so that I didn't have time to think about the conflict I was in.
Sure. And then when your friend in work, then that was obviously a very sort of stressful moment for you as well then. But that was a sort of trigger then for you, was it?
I think, so even before that, my intuition had told me when I look back now that I didn't want to go into that job because of the negative environment the team was radiating. I could feel that from the start. But that was definitely a trigger moment when I felt there was no support net at work by management. A colleague and I had set up various websites to support the family and relatives, and they didn't want us to go through with it. I'm like, wow, my values here, which are integrity, trust, and openness, and so on, were simply not present.
Interesting. So then, I mean, what do you do then? So you're out of work, you have no job, and so you turned to coaching, Natascha, was it?
That was actually, I stumbled across upon it. It was, I participated in a coaching course myself earlier this year, which was for women in negotiation to really negotiate the salary for your worth. And that was very interesting. And I decided, okay, I want to go into internal communications. I want to improve the communication channels at companies, because I didn't see that happening at the company that I worked for. So I wanted to improve that elsewhere. But then the more I talk with people, I'm like, maybe this is not for me to go into a big corporation again. And it's like fighting so hard to change the system from within, where it would be so much better to help people one-on-one, face-to-face, digitally speaking, to prevent themselves from burning out by making healthier choices.
Sure. So you've got a webinar coming up. Is it next week, Natascha? And you're going to be talking about, about the whole subject of stress and burnout and how to give people the tools to manage that.
Exactly. It's going to be an interactive webinar on Tuesday, the 15th. It's at 2 p.m. Central European Time, 1 p.m. Irish time. And it's going to be interactive because I always felt when I've watched webinars or participated in courses that I take away great things or learnings, but then I never apply them. So I want to give people the time within the webinar to apply them already in the breakout rooms. And people should bring pen and paper And it's going to be about analyzing the current state that they're in, what they're frustrated about, and also I'm going to give tips about healthy habit building, because it's very important that people build healthy habits that support or that break the stress cycle, so to speak.
Yeah. So you've sort of changed your whole way of obviously changed your whole way of life now, and you've developed all these tools now through your coaching program for how to help other people. So to recognize the symptoms of burnout, I guess, and to recognize the path that they're on, does that make sense based on your own experience?
Exactly. Yeah. Especially to recognize the symptoms, which sometimes, like going to the gym 4, 5, 6 times a week might seem like a healthy choice. Can be a sign that you're on the way to burning out, actually. And of course, it's a good thing to do. But if you overwork yourself in the gym, you might also be more at risk to actually break something or get ill in some other way. So it's important to really know what the symptoms and signals are to break them and get out of the cycle.
Sure. So if I was to ask you now for, like, let's say I was involved in a really stressful situation at work, what 3 tips would you give me right now to, what would you say to me first?
Great question. I would probably ask you to tell me more about the conflict. I mean, conflicts are so difficult. We always feel, I think, that when we are in a conflict, that's something that we've constructed, whether it's a career or something else, that it's at stake when we're in a conflict, that the other person, if they're criticizing us, that they're destroying what we've built. And this obviously, we think it can destroy our confidence and everything that we stand for. So I think, first of all, it's good to adopt this growth mentality and embrace criticism, no matter how harsh it is. Because it doesn't destroy the confidence. You can always learn from it. And then second of all, if it's harsh criticism and it's not true, then ask for clarification. Ask the counterpart, can you tell me more? So you distance yourself from feeling angry and frustrated, and you give yourself time in your body to calm down again. And in the meantime, the counterpart will be surprised that you're asking them a question, and they have to elaborate. And then, of course, if you're in a situation that is really negative, you can label that. You can say, I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling a little sad to hear that you're criticizing this. I would like to talk about it more. So really ask for clarification, and it opens up the dialogue. And it's very important, and I know that's hard, never to go into the defense mode, because that's what I did, and it never works.
And you mentioned your values earlier, and your sort of, I guess, the integrity of what's important to you, Natascha. And obviously you realize that the job, the job you're in, or the role you're in, it just wasn't fulfilling those values or those needs for yourself. So is that a sort of I guess people take that as a signal, if you like, that they need to sort of look at their life and reflect on their life and where they're going, I guess people need to do that all the time, don't they?
Yeah, we forgot to do that. I mean, my parents probably never did that. I don't know about your parents, but it was a given that you just work a lot of hours per week, much more than we do nowadays, and you accept it. But nowadays, I think we should really reflect on what we're doing, if it's fulfilling, analyze or have a look at what our values are, because if the values don't match with the industry you're working in, let's say you're working in the finance industry as a banker, but you are actually a family person and you value also a sense of humor and creativity, but you were given this thought, or this thought has been implemented in your head by your parents or whoever, that you need to be successful and earn a lot of money, then you're going to end up being burned out. And to be honest, especially men have a hard time admitting that they're in the wrong job, because there's still this idea that they need to be successful and earn a lot of money and be strong and never admit that they made a mistake. So It's hard, I can
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
yeah. I guess that's the ego. Is the ego sort of takes over, Natasha. People that sort of fuels maybe the wrong idea as to what success really is.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah. So it's a fascinating story, Natasha. So what can people expect on the? So you're doing a series of workshops then starting in January.
Yeah, it's going to be a 6-week group coaching program that is going to include group coaching on a weekly basis, plus one-on-one coaching sessions as well with me. So where people can really address and dig deep into the topics that are close to their hearts that they want to address. And especially the group dynamic is very good in order to understand what other people go through and to not continue on the negative spiral downwards, but upwards. It's very uplifting. There's going to be a lot of material included, including homework as well on a weekly basis around the topics such as self-beliefs, self-esteem, self-compassion, and what do you want to do in your life? Where do you want to go? It's all about tailoring it to what you need, the person needs,
Yeah,
to really break the stress cycle, because it's very individual and you can't just
sure.
set up this process that works for one person and then works for all. It's going to be
Yeah,
about you, basically.
sure. Brilliant. Sounds fantastic. And where did you get all these tools, Natasha? Then was it just through your own sort of your own coaching journey, or was it just your own experience, really? Or
Yeah, it was my own experience, really. It was everything that has helped me personally to get out of the burnout and to reflect. And sometimes it was painful that the things that I had to admit to myself, like conflict management. Like I realized that I wasn't that good at that because I was so insecure deep down, and I had to really work on that in order to bring up my confidence. And it's going to include a lot of things like that. And then obviously, whenever somebody feels they need something else, we can discuss that in the one-on-one coaching session.
Yeah, sounds fantastic. I think it's going to be a great workshop, Natasha. So tell me a little bit more about your sort of your daily routine that sort of keeps you in a calm sort of space all the time. It seems like you've reached that place where you're just in that calm space all the time. Yeah.
Well, to be honest, not always, I have to say, John. It's also a work in progress, because when I quit my job and I was unemployed from June this year, I had to really structure my day, and it was really about finding a routine and rhythm that works for me. So I really use Google Calendar a lot to restrict myself and tell myself what I'm going to do now, even the smallest tasks.
Yeah.
Because if I just let the day go on, I know I'm not going to achieve anything. And if I achieve even a small thing, then I can be proud of myself.
Yeah.
And then I also started meditation after somebody a couple of weeks ago told me again, please do. And I'm doing it now on a daily basis before lunch, so before 12. And that is really great. And I can see already an improvement after a month. And then every day since 4 months now, I'm doing Qigong. It's a traditional Chinese practice that I love. And it's really calmed me down so much. I remember you saying you've done Tai Chi.
I'm training to be a Tai Chi teacher. And
amazing.
Yeah, Tai Chi and Qigong. Wow, it's fantastic. Absolutely
it's so
fantastic.
good.
Yeah.
And it's not first for me, because everybody's talking about yoga, but for me, it was just frustrating because I'm so inflexible. And I'm like, this is not working, even though I did it 5 times a week. And I'm like, no, I need to find something else. So people also need to look at what is their energy, how does what sport relate to their body, and how good does it feel? Not everything works for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And tell us about the what else was I going to ask you? I forget now what I was going to ask you. But so tell us a little bit more about the type of person that you think would benefit from your workshops.
It's definitely somebody that is always giving 200% in their job and in their lives. It's many times it's the women, I have to say, that are and maybe you've heard of the term insecure overachievers. It's the people that companies like to hire because They don't speak up for themselves. They do their job, but they are
Yeah.
quiet. They never complain, but they do their job so well.
Yeah.
And that's perfect for companies. And the women then, and I've read that somewhere recently, they go into a second shift, so to speak, at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
When men actually start to relax, women start to go into another shift because they realize, oh my God, at home, I need to do so much more work, and I need to cook and care for the kids.
Yeah.
So especially women, I would say, are more prone to getting into a burnout. But really, the program is open to everybody that feels they've tried so many stress coping mechanisms and none of them work. Because I also realized they don't work for me, and it's about looking at things from a different perspective.
Yeah. That sounds amazing. Like I just feel your energy is so calming, Natascha. And,
thank you.
it just feels that you've got you found a solution. Certainly for yourself, you found a solution, and now you can obviously help other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So listen, what we're going to do is we're going to put the details of your webinar in the comments here with this, and the how can people reach you, and also the workshop in January. We'll put the details there, Natascha. And have you got an Irish audience yet, or?
A little bit, because of how many times I traveled to Ireland. I definitely love Ireland. I had the best holiday ever there last year. I traveled through all the places, it seems. I loved it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to connecting with more Irish people.
Brilliant. Yeah, and tell me a little bit about Switzerland. I believe I haven't been there, but I believe it's a beautiful country.
It's beautiful. I've lived in Geneva, in Lucerne, and now in Zurich. So various languages, and Swiss German is the main language, very different from German. So at the beginning, I didn't understand a word. Had to learn another language, so to speak.
Sure.
And the nature is just beautiful. I mean, today it's very gray, but I live a couple of minutes from the lake, and I go for a walk there every day, and it's just really relaxing. And that's why also I don't want to go back to where I'm coming from in Germany, because it's very industrial. And here in Switzerland, where I live, it's just a bliss to leave the house and be right in the center of nature.
Yeah, sounds amazing, Natascha. Sounds amazing. Listen, thank you so much. And so people can reach you on LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, or?
Yeah, LinkedIn is the best, or on Facebook. But really, LinkedIn, I'm very active. Or have a look. And on LinkedIn, you also find a Calendly link to book a session with me if you're interested.
So we'll put your LinkedIn details up as well in the comments.
Perfect. Yeah.
So listen, it's been a really lovely conversation, and really looking forward to your workshop and at your webinar, and to see if people want to attend your workshop. It sounds like it's going to be a really super workshop, you know?
Yeah, I look forward to seeing a lot of people there, hopefully. It was great talking with you too, John.
Yeah, thank you so much, Natascha. And your Holistic Academy, we have a very holistic approach to life. So we're very glad to invite people like yourself who've got that sort of same holistic approach to life. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Natascha. Take care.
Thank you, John. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.